April, we have our 30 top leaders in the United States that will be getting a water machine for free, that they won that. And we're right on track to be delivering those in April. We're right on track to be having these water machines in inventory in July, and we'll release them to our brand partners here. But we're also having an incentive. So if you live in Asia or Europe, you're going to have an opportunity to win one of these water machines in July. Then we are planning in 2026. We anticipate that we won't have any problems with regulatory and infrastructure, and we'll be able to start shipping the water machines out into markets such as Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and also Europe. We went over this last month, so I won't spend time now, but we have determined the selling price of about $5,000 US. We do have financing available, so everyone can afford one of these, and we also have a very lucrative commission and BV structure with this. Now, to have a conversation about the third study today, I did want to set the foundation that we see codes in nature. So DNA is an informational code. It's a programming language. We have light that initiates thousands of chemical reactions within the cell. So this is a form of communication, and it's a form of an instructional code. And these light emissions come from the cell nucleus. They come from the DNA. So these biological codes are extremely important. It is what allows the patches to work. So I'm applying the same methodology here in the water machine, but just in a different way, so we can get a whole host of benefits that we haven't been able to get before. So our X2O water machine, this is based on a discovery that I made on light emissions that are found in the blood of lobsters. And we study a number of different life forms that don't age: planaria, hydractinia, specific species of ant. And lobsters are of interest because they actually get stronger as they age. I found that there was a pattern, a code of light emissions in the blood, and incredibly, the mathematical ratios of one wavelength of light to the other, that mathematical ratio is found in the book of Genesis 1:1. I went into great detail about this at our conference in October. So the basic technology here is that this is a process to take 6 different wavelengths of light that trigger regenerative mechanism inside of the cell, place those wavelengths of light into water in an entirely new way, and allow those wavelengths of light to be released inside of the body after you drink it. And what's incredible is that you can experience these benefits in the first 15 seconds of consuming the water. So of course, what we want to know is, will this stop human aging, and what might some of the other benefits be? So just as a very brief overview, the first water study that we did collected urine data, blood data. We looked at what effect the water would have on the nervous system by using heart rate variability. We looked at blood flow using infrared. And we found that in this study, 100% of the people that drink the water get a statistically significant change in their measurements, and the water begins to work within 15 seconds. We also found in the water study 1 that the metabolism was improved, and we see an increase in collagen production, increase in muscle protein synthesis, even elevation of NAD, which is strongly linked to age reversal. Now, the second water study, which we covered last month, was a little bit different. in that we wanted to look at the bioelectrical measures in the body instead of the biochemistry. And perhaps not surprisingly, we saw over 100 improvements from drinking this water. So this is a systemic effect, and we found improvements in the flow of electrical energy in every single organ in the human body. We also found that our water produces a very powerful relaxation response. So when the nervous system goes into a state of relaxation, we see a reduction in inflammation. And when people are using this water, drinking this water, they notice, for example, if they have arthritis, that their arthritic pain diminishes dramatically within 1 or 2 minutes. And of course, this effect is even more powerful when you combine it with our patches. So this is the perfect technology to be using with X39 and all of our patches. We also did see improvements in blood flow in this study, in cognition, and indications that this would improve longevity. So, water study 3. What we're going to do is take a group of people that are using just our water, and then another group where they're going to be taking the amino acid L-citrulline and the antioxidant sulforaphane with the water. And we're going to see what we can learn from that. We used a whole host of different measures to collect data on this. So like other clinical studies, we've used the Physio Suite, so we can measure things like heart rate variability and electromyography. We use the BioWell to measure the electrical properties of the body. We use the biopulsar, similarly, that measures electrical potential in different organs throughout the body. Doppler perfusion imaging, which is going to measure blood flow, and so forth. I'll get into these each in a little bit more detail. And like, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but like our previous 2 studies, we saw over 100 statistically significant changes in the body within minutes of drinking this water. So there were positive changes in every single major organ group. So when you drink this water, the energy gets released everywhere and affects the entire body. This is a very powerful systemic effect. So in this study, why did we use the amino acid citrulline? Citrulline is a precursor to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that's naturally produced in the body. It has, it'll act like as a hormone-like activity, but most importantly, it's a vasodilator. So if you're someone that has cardiovascular problems, you can benefit from citrulline. By the way, we have included L-citrulline in our Cellergize formula, 1.5 grams of L-citrulline per serving. So there were many reasons why I wanted to include citrulline in that formula. The main reason is that L-citrulline, as it converts to nitric oxide, has a very powerful effect on mitochondrial function and can, in fact, assist the body under the right conditions in producing more energy. And the more energy that the cell produces, essentially, it's going to function as a younger, healthier cell. So we want to elevate and control the body's levels of nitric oxide. Another thing that's very important about citrulline, and again, under the right conditions, as long as it's balanced with glutathione, and we elevate glutathione as well, not only with our patches, but with the Cellergize formula. Very important thing about nitric oxide is that it can stimulate production of additional mitochondria. And this is important. So for example, if we're talking about the mitochondria that exists in muscle tissue, The more mitochondria that you have in your muscle tissue, the more work that your muscles are capable of. So you can increase your athletic performance with L-citrulline. And of course, there's longevity benefits to this. Now, the other material that we used is sulforaphane. Some of you may not be familiar with this. Sulforaphane is found in naturally occurring in things like broccoli, and it is a precursor to glutathione and SOD. SOD is a very powerful antioxidant, superoxide dismutase. We did not include sulforaphane in Celergize because it has a very strong sulfur-like taste. So instead, we included a blend of other antioxidants in Celergize. We included NAC, N-acetylcysteine, which helps convert to glutathione. We included beta-alanine, and so forth. So we have antioxidants in Celergize to support glutathione and SOD levels. But here's the way to think about this. The cells of your body, the mitochondria, they produce energy, and as a result, you get oxidative stress as part of the natural metabolism of converting food over to energy. If we control the oxidative stress with antioxidants, we can continue to support energy production in the cell. If we allow our antioxidants to drop off, then energy production is going to shut down to preserve the integrity of the cell, so it won't be damaged. So this is one of the reasons why antioxidants are so important to our health as well as our longevity. So we wanted to find out in this study if we supplement with citrulline and glutathione and SOD, what effect, how is that going to complement the activity of the water? Now, a concept we're going to be talking about on this is measuring the flow of energy. And one of the ways that we do this is with the BioWell and the BioPulsar. And we look at energy flow through the nervous system as well as the acupuncture system. And just to be clear, when we're talking about acupuncture, this is in scientific terms, not in esoteric terms. Acupuncture, of course, was discovered in China and in India. And what modern science has found is that these acupuncture meridians are really threads of collagen that have electrolytes attached to them, and they conduct infrared energy. So these systems are a communication system in our body that works with light. So we literally have fiber optic cables in our body that use light for communication in addition to the nervous system. Absolutely incredible. So the objective of this study is we've got 20 people, 10 in each group, and we want to see what happens when people drink our water, and then in the other group, what happens when people drink the water with sulforaphane and citrulline. So the X2O machines make this extremely convenient because everything is automated. Our water is charged for 45 minutes with light in the special system that it uses. And we, of course, want to take these measures here before and after. Now, here's some of the equipment that we used in the study. This is what we call the Physio Suite, and we can use it to measure heart rate variability or look for changes in the muscle, also blood volume. The BioWell is an incredibly valuable tool because it looks at energy flow through the body, and we can even use this to visualize the energy field around the body as in this picture. And we can see if there's any disruption to the flow of energy through a specific organ, and then this can tell us if there's a problem with the health of that organ. Biopulsar is a piece of equipment we have here in our lab. We've been using this for over 15 years now, and it's an incredibly valuable tool. For example, what we can do with this is have someone put their hand on the equipment, get baseline data over a period of about 1 minute. You apply an X39 patch to the body, and immediately you can see the effects that the X39 patch has in real time in different tissues, like it shows here in the shoulder, the lung, the heart, the spleen, the kidneys, and so forth. So this allows us to see changes in the electrical activity of the body in real time. Doppler perfusion imaging, this allows us to see changes in blood flow. So we would expect, if we were elevating nitric oxide, that blood flow would improve. We had seen previously from drinking this water that it improves cognition, it improves mental awareness. And we measured this in one of the tests by seeing that blood flow to the brain improved. Imagine how this could help people, let's say over the age of 50 or 60, that are have brain fog. We see in real life people drink the water and they say, wow, my brain fog went away. But it's nothing like caffeine, of course. Infrared imaging is an incredible tool. What this allows us to see is that if a person has inflammation in part of the body, let's say they have, in this image, that would be back pain, upper, lower back pain. You drink the water, and now we can see that the inflammation starts to go away and the back pain goes away. We use this one technology, Omron body composition and weight scale. It's very simple and straightforward, but as you can see in the description at the bottom, it allows us to collect a number of very important metrics, which I'm going to show you what we learned from that. This other tool, and you can already see we're collecting enormous amounts of data. TrueMetrics allows us to see energy metabolism, look at blood glucose levels. And HRV is important because when we measure heart rate variability, we can see a relaxation response, and this can tell us if we get a relaxation response, that's going to mean that the body is less stressed, so inflammation is going to go down. And that's not only going to be good for people suffering with pain, but it's also important for longevity. If we get our body into a state of relaxation and there's less inflammation, we live longer. Okay, I'll keep this moving along. So this is a list of the type of data that we collected, which we've kind of already covered a little bit here. I'd say one important thing about the biopulsar, like the BioWell, is that this is in the body when a person experiences pain. This can be measured as a resistance to the flow of a bioelectrical current. So we can measure tissue resistance. And with these tools, if you improve the flow of energy, not only are we going to be helping people that are in pain, but this is also an anti-aging effect and, in fact, a longevity effect. So BioWell and BioPulsar non-invasively can give us this data on how healthy is your heart, how healthy is your kidneys. And so it would be really nice if medical doctors were using these in their labs to give patients some real-time feedback. Again, if we're looking at longevity effects, if someone is not getting good circulation, especially, let's say, down in their peripheral nerves in the feet, that could lead to degeneration of the tissue, such as neuropathy. And so if we see an improvement in blood flow, that's going to help to, I don't want to make a medical claim, but obviously improvement in blood flow is super important. Okay, we've talked about infrared, and we've seen some really surprising effects by measuring body fat percentage, body mass index, metabolism from drinking the water. Very surprising immediate effects. Okay, so we saw that within minutes of consuming this water, that there were measurable, statistically significant changes in 100% of the people that participated. So that would be, in these first 3 studies, 60 out of 60 people. The next study, study number 4, which I'm hoping we'll have the write-up on that, where we can talk about that next month. That was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study. And again, we had similar results with that. So out of the 6 studies, we're now approaching about 150, or more than 150 people that have been measured in clinical studies, every single person responding. So imagine, what does that do for your business when 100% of the people get an effect from the product within 15 seconds of drinking the water? Amazing. All right, so let's talk about some of the key findings now. And then after we go through this, I want to get to some of your questions. But first thing, and I think what you'll be very excited about, is that we found that the body age significantly decreased in the water-only group. So just drinking this water decreases biological age. Now, we have still yet to come in future studies, telomere testing and epigenetic panels, where we want to show regeneration of the telomeres and the gene expression is flipping back to a more youthful state. But as measured on the Omron body scale, we found that biological age decreased from drinking this water. What we found in the supplement group, people that are elevating nitric oxide and antioxidants, as you would hope, the metabolism increased. People are burning more calories and getting more energy, which in and of itself is an anti-aging effect from drinking this water with the supplements. So that would, when you're combining our water with Celergize, you're going to see that you burn more calories. Anecdotally, I can tell you that people that drink the water lose body fat. We're not ready to make that claim, but that's something that we've seen. The addition of the supplements had an effect on the charge, the electrical charge of the cell, and this was used to increase the metabolism. So there's some very interesting dynamics going on here with supplementation, metabolism, and longevity. As measured by the BioWell and the BioPulsar, we saw positive, statistically significant improvements in the flow of energy through every organ in the body. So we're not going to make any medical claims on this. We keep this as general wellness, but when you use this product, you can expect to see changes everywhere. All right, let's talk about another key finding here, and this is on levels of oxygen. And so just like a car needs air to convert the fuel over into energy, the cells of our body need oxygen to drive the energy production process. So here's what was interesting, was that in Group A, which was the supplement group, the average oxygen levels were at 96%. After drinking the water, the amount of oxygen in the cell increased to 98%. Now, we won't make a medical claim about this, but there are a number of health conditions which are driven by a reduction in oxygen in the cells. So oxygen therapies have been around for a long time, and I often recommend them in the treatment of different disease. But of course, we're not doing that. But this is just to say that this is a form of oxygen therapy. You drink the water, the levels of oxygen in the cell go up. Now in Group B, which didn't have the supplement, we got same effect. So we can see that this increase in oxygen was driven by just drinking the water. It had nothing to do with the supplements. So that's good that we were able to rule that out. And again, we see we went from a median of 97% to 98%. So what benefits could we expect? If you were an athlete, getting enough oxygen into the cells so you can make more energy during competition is critically important. So athletes can benefit from this. Anybody that wants to have natural energy depends on having adequate amounts of oxygen in the cells. So we would expect improvement in physical performance, improvement in cognition. We need energy to heal, so we'd expect that healing would improve. And ultimately, the more energy that the cell produces, the longer that you live. So this is another indicator that you drink this water and it improves longevity. Now, I know many people in our community are going to be excited about the fact that just drinking this water will increase the metabolism and help support a healthy lifestyle and weight loss. We absolutely need to recommend that people exercise, eat healthy, get proper rest. So this is a tool to help your body burn more fat and make more energy. So obvious benefits to this. So again, we can see in the pre and post that just drinking this water, and this of course is now with the supplement group, that the amount of energy that you burn goes up. This effect again was happening with just the water. So you don't have to have the supplements. We can see that again, there's a difference between the baseline and the amount of energy produced after you drink the water. What was interesting was there was one person where the energy burn went up to 2,500 calories. The average was 1,750. So that means some people are going to respond incredibly well to this and lose weight more rapidly. So we get an improvement in metabolic efficiency. So it's like your metabolism is being restored to when it was younger. The cells act like younger, healthier cells. We get improved mitochondrial function. And this is completely consistent with the increased amount of oxygen in the cell that we measured. This was also really interesting. In Group A, the supplement group, the age of the people were between 40 and 75, and we measured a decrease in their biological age. I think I've kind of covered this already. We need to validate this with telomere testing and with looking at gene expression, but it's really exciting to see that there's some initial indications here. We had exactly the same thing happen in the group that was just drinking the water, a decrease in biological age. Okay, I'm going to skip right over to, I'm going to skip right over to the end here so we have some time for questions. What did we learn from the first 3 studies now on X2O? We learned that consuming water infused with light increases the production of collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and it forms what's called the cytoskeleton in the cells. Consumption of X2O water, light-infused water, increases muscle protein synthesis. So for those of you that are exercising, you're going to notice you build more muscle more quickly with X2O. We see that light-infused water increases the energy production in the cells. This is exactly what we would expect from a technology that's capable of stopping or reversing human aging. So we validated that now. Really importantly, in the first study, we found that X2O activated the KP pathway. This was indicated by upregulation of amino acids and this increases NAD. NAD is a key indicator of age reversal in human cells. Blood tests show an expansion of the cells, an increase in the electrical charge around the cell. That is a key sign that we're reversing the age of the cells. We saw improved blood flow, improved cognition, a relaxation response, so reduced inflammation, increase in tissue oxygenation, so a healthier cell, a more vibrant cell that's producing more energy, an improvement in the metabolism. You're burning more calories, so there's more energy available to run your body, to heal the body, to engage in athletic activity. Elevated ATP production, which is necessary for slowing down and stopping and reversing human aging. And of course, all of these hints point to enhanced longevity. So these three studies now give us some incredible indications at what the benefits that people will experience with the X2O water, how this is going to complement X39 and our other patches, and it paves the way for future studies that we're going to look at, so eventually we can prove that this is stopping and reversing human aging. So Wayne, I think with that, I would love to take some questions.
Incredible. David, the results are truly remarkable from these studies, and I think it speaks a lot to your innovation style and your heart, the way that you don't just focus on the innovation, but also validating and proving the results. I think goes such a long way for all of us, and it is such an important part of your process. And yes, I've been frantically taking notes here off to the side. I've got a couple pages, and maybe we'll get to as many as we can. But you know, some of it were questions, another was just wow, incredible, amazing, awesome, mind blowing, and then many in other languages that I couldn't quite read. But needless to say, there's a tremendous amount of excitement, and so some of these questions we may have answered in a previous webinar, but I will just kind of start digging in. So why does this have such a huge impact on so many systems of the body?
There's so many ways to answer this, but I would say fundamentally, what's important to know is that light is the master control mechanism of everything that goes on in the human body. Becker had shown that the electrical systems of the body control the chemistry. This is kind of self-evident in that we know we can have a thought to move our limbs, and there is a flow of bioelectrical energy through the nervous system that has to signal a muscle contraction, and that muscle contraction activates energy in the muscle fibers, the actin and myosin, and now we get a muscle contraction. So the energetic systems of the body control the biochemistry. That's number one. Light is the master control for biochemical changes in the human body. So we are working with the central control system that the human body uses. The X2O process infuses 6 different wavelengths of light into water. So we're getting a novel structure of water that hasn't existed before. Maybe it existed, back in the Garden of Eden. I have no idea. But as far as we can tell, this is a new structure of water. And when you drink this water, we know that 70% of our body is water. Water goes everywhere. So that's an important principle, because that means that we can deliver light to any tissue in the body that needs it, because water is now the carrier. We also know that when we release light, that the effects are, relatively speaking, instantaneous. The light takes fractions of a second to go where it's needed. So it's the biochemical changes that are slow. So when we say that you drink this water and in about 15 seconds, you're seeing changes, that's how we're recording it. So you drink the water, it's metabolized, the light is released, and then this shows up as an improvement in the flow of energy through the body, as well as changes in the biochemistry. So it's really the changes in the biochemistry that take the time. But I think that answers the question. There's many ways of answering it, but I think that answers it.
Yeah, another question that's come up several times is around how long the light or the benefits last in the water. Is there a certain time that you want to consume it within? Do those benefits diminish over time?
So we are currently recommending that people consume the water first thing in the morning, and they do that on an empty stomach. We've measured that most people will feel an increase in the energy over about 3 to 5 hours during the day. And in our studies, we only have people drinking 1 glass. We may find at some point that drinking 2 glasses per day is more beneficial. We don't know yet. But we found that all of the benefits that people are getting is just from consuming 1 glass per day. In some cases, 2 glasses is too strong because people will experience a detox effect with this if they're not healthy. So we would ask people to exercise caution.
Thank you for that. Yeah, there was a couple questions around, can it be overconsumed? And you take too many glasses in a day. And so thank you for touching on that as well. Kind of maybe a little bit of a softball question here, but a couple of questions were around how is this better than, for example, hydrogenated water or ozonated water? How is the X2O water better and different?
Yeah, so first, on the input side, people can put in tap water, spring water, distilled water, deuterium depleted water. I would not recommend alkaline water to be put into the machine because we don't know what effect that will have on the filters. But there's a 2-liter reservoir, so you put in tap water, spring water in there, and we have 2 stages of filtration that will remove all of the contaminants, the forever chemicals, heavy metals, chlorine, and so forth. And then that goes into a special light processing chamber that I invented. And essentially, this will insert wavelengths of light into the bonds, into the domains between the hydrogen and the oxygen. So this is nothing like alkaline water, hydrogenated water, ozone water. It's not even remotely similar. This technology is embedding wavelengths of light into water that, when consumed, trigger regenerative mechanism in human cells.
Amazing. Does it also impact the pH levels? There's a couple of questions around pH levels.
No, it will not impact. It will not impact the pH of the water. So this is not an alkaline water machine. It's not a water ionizer.
Thank you. And you touched on the maintenance and the right type of water to put in it. Is putting a certain type of water going to help extend the life of the filter? And also then from kind of a cleaning and maintenance standpoint, how often do you recommend, I'm going to use the wrong term, but flushing the device or something like that?
Yeah, so suppose if people are putting hard water into the machine, they may have to clean the machine. We provide instructions for that, and we may even offer a service for that. But yeah, if you're putting in distilled water, spring water, and there's not a lot of minerals in it, that can potentially keep the inside of the machine a little bit cleaner. But other than that, we're going to recommend that the filters be replaced every 6 to 12 months, and everything is automated. You don't have to remember anything. The machine keeps track of how many glasses of water you consume. So the machine will tell you when it's time to replace the filters based on the usage. Everything is automated.
And getting back to extending the life of the benefits, would, after you filter and infuse the light into this water, are you able to put it in the refrigerator for an hour or two? Is there some way to kind of extend those benefits just a little bit?
Yeah, so we currently believe the stability of the water is about 5 hours. It's probably longer. However, that's under controlled laboratory conditions. So if someone wanted to store the water for a period of time, I'd recommend that you put it in a glass container and keep it in the dark. However, I would say that our studies have been done where right after processing, people drink the water. So we know that the water works right after it's processed. The machine will keep the water in a processed state so that when you dispense it, the water is ready to go. So we would recommend that people, the water is incredibly smooth. That's one thing that people will notice about this, is that it's incredibly smooth so that when you drink it, it goes down very easily. So we'd recommend that people drink this first thing in the morning and not store it because we simply don't have the data to say how long it will last.
Great. And getting back to the maintenance question, how often should someone replace the filter?
Yeah, it's going to depend on usage, but let's say every 6 to 12 months. But the machine has a touchpad interface and it has a display so that when it's time to replace a filter, the machine will let you know.
Great. And I know this is one of your favorite topics and questions, and it came up a couple times here, but how does this work with the other products, the patches, Cellergize here shortly when it launches? I know this is not meant to replace any, but really work in synergy for its amplifying effects. Can you share a little more on that?
Yeah. One of the things that we've recommended for years, really from the very beginning of the company, is that if there were people that did not respond to the patches, we recommend that they drink water. In many cases, people were dehydrated from drinking too much coffee or tea and not getting enough water in their diet. And this is easy to understand because water is required for the body to make energy. So this makes the X2O machine the absolutely best complement for the patches. I was sharing a story last month where I had a gentleman in his mid-60s that came into my office with crippling arthritis. And I applied an X39 patch behind the neck and Eon patches on his hands because he couldn't close his hands from the arthritis. And I gave him a glass of X2O. And in less than 1 minute, his pain level went from a 10 to a 4. And about 2 minutes after that, his pain level dropped to a 1 and then nothing. And he regained use of his hands. That all happened within minutes of using X2O with the patches. With Cellergize, the water is going to act as a delivery system for those nutrients so they get into the cells more efficiently because the water has a lower surface tension and the water can penetrate the cell membrane. So the water goes exactly where it's needed, inside the cell.
Oh, that's amazing. So there's questions around, if people have certain health concerns that they're wanting this to impact. What about from a prevention standpoint? I know you've kind of touched on this, but how does it help kind of pre and post, maybe different health issues that someone is wanting to address?
My personal goal with this project would be to provide a tool that can empower people to take their health into their own hands. In very much way, this technology is a child of the pandemic. And what that means is when I did a webinar at the very beginning of the pandemic, and it was obvious that something was not right. 6 weeks after the pandemic was announced, drug companies were started to do trials on the mRNA vaccines. Anyone that studies this knows it takes 10 years of animal testing and development before you ever get to the stage of before you're going to do human testing. So the question is, how is it that in 6 weeks after the pandemic is announced, that the drug companies already have a vaccine, they've already gotten approval from FDA, and they're already going to start studies? None of this made sense. And once we started to see all of the outright lies that were coming out, now Yale University has basically proven us right. Yale University did a study where they're showing, yeah, these mRNA vaccines have horrible side effects. So it was during that time where I thought we really need to have technology that is operating on an entirely different level. That if we could find a way to put light inside the body and get the cells to operate like younger, healthier cells, we could use this as a means to protect our health. So, sometimes there's really bad things in life that happen, but I really believe there are opportunities to turn it into something good, use it as motivation to create something good to help people. And I like to think that that this is a great example of that.
It absolutely is. So we just came up on the hour. A lot of the other questions are, will these studies eventually be posted in the back office or on the website for people to continue to review over time?
Yeah, so we've completed 6 studies. I believe there's already some studies in the back office that have already been published. So before we can put them in the back office, they have to be written up and then go out for publishing. So that would be the only holdup. But I do believe we already have 2 of the studies that are
That's right.
in the back office.
Incredible. David, thank you for all of the time in creating and inventing this incredible product. We're all excited to get it into our hands and the water into our bodies. Thank you for keeping us on the cutting edge of health and wellness, and especially for continuing to validate. I believe you're up to 200 patents now. If I'm correct, I think I was on a call this morning, maybe where that number was dropped. Is that right?
I know it's over 150. I stopped counting after 150. It could be 200, but I'll have to wait and see. I know, yeah, it's probably somewhere in that ballpark. It's a little lot to take in. From our perspective, I've got an amazing team of engineers here at our lab. They're just a phenomenal, great group of people. And, we just want to make the world a better place and empower people and let them be able to have the tools where they can make decisions about what they do with their health. And so whatever the number is, I'm just very, very grateful to God that we've been so blessed.
Absolutely. You are definitely helping us all, push all of us forward as it relates to health and wellness and longevity. So thank you. I can't wait till next month till we get to dig into another study and learn even more. But thank you for all you do.
As you as well. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.